welcome everyone to the Fright Corner podcast. I'm your host, John, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Jeff.
Hello.
Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks. Doing so far so good. We're recording this on Sunday, the 15th, so it will come out the 16th is when you'll hear it. Shouldn't be a problem there.
Yeah, kind of the final hour this week. We pushed it back a little bit.
Yeah, we're just trying to make sure everything was prepared and kind of got busy, and things been hectic the last couple of weeks for me with everything going on, so...
Yeah, we had that ice storm roll through here in the Midwest, so that didn't help things.
No, and in fact, I'm going to have to get the chainsaw this week and cut up some limbs out back that are actually really good size limbs came down our backyard, so... And we have several trees in the backyard, so that's going to be a little bit of fun. I'll probably wait till Wednesday because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Then it's supposed to dry out Tuesday, so...
Huh. Yeah, they were saying this was supposed to be one of the worst ice storms in like a decade or something, and I know it did freeze a little bit, and there was some ice dangling off the power lines, but luckily here in Missouri, we didn't get it too bad after all. Like, we didn't lose power at all. I don't know about you guys.
No, we didn't either. Ours flickered last night because it started... Well, we had the ice, and then last night started thundering and lightning and just poured ass rain.
Jeez.
And then it started freezing again, and that's whenever all our trees and stuff started coming down the back. All the limbs and stuff was last night.
Wow. Yeah, I know a lot of people up north. They're getting a lot worse than we are. So
Yeah,
hopefully they're surviving all right.
Yeah, it looked like down in Oklahoma they got it pretty good too. So.
Oh wow, you wouldn't really think of Oklahoma getting big storms like that, but I guess it happens.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while. I mean, they mostly get a lot of tornadoes and rain and stuff. But they got some ice this time, so. Yeah.
Huh. Well, speaking of taking chainsaws and cutting off limbs, that kind of leads into our reviews today.
Yes, it does. But so we're gonna do Pieces from 1982 and Wrong Turn from 2003. And I figure this time we're gonna start out with Wrong Turn from 2003. So Jeff, I'll let you kind of give a plot on it, and we will go into discussing it and see what happens.
Okay, sure. So they hunted down by cannibalistic men grossly disfigured through generations of inbreeding. And it's directed by Robert Schmidt, written by Alan B. McElroy or McElroy? I don't know how you'd say that. But anyway, it has the main actress listed as Eliza Dushku, and I was always a big fan of hers in like the late 90s and early 2000s, growing up around that time. She was like the celebrity crush that you have. But yeah, so this movie is pretty interesting. And going back now, and it's pretty crazy because like the movie starts out with the lead male character. He's basically driving through this backwoods area. I think the road was closed or whatever that he was going to take, and so they had an accident on the highway, and so he took off on the dirt road.
Chemical spill.
Right, yeah. And so he ends up taking this dirt road that's supposedly going to get him there a lot faster. And he takes that road, and then he's like fidgeting with a CD or something. He drops something in the car, and he looks up, and he's fine. And then he sees something weird on the side of the road. I can't remember if it was a deer or something like that. But then he looked back forward, and lo and behold, he crashes into the back of a station wagon, I think it was. And so he's stuck there, and that's where he meets up with Eliza Dushku and her group, and they kind of go from there. And like I said, going back now, what I didn't realize was the main lead character, Desmond Harrington. He's Quinn from Dexter. I had no idea because I'm a big Dexter fan, and I was never really a Quinn fan, though. I kind of hated him on that show, but it was really weird going back and seeing him in this movie. So I kind of had that going on when I first returned to this the other day.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that either till I watched it again because, obviously at the time he wasn't on Dexter, but it's just kind of seeing him in a younger role. It's like, oh, crap, I know that guy. Yeah. Where's he from?
Exactly.
For a second there, it took me a second to really realize who he was. But yeah, it was pretty neat seeing that, though.
Jeremy Sisto, he was a big name actor back then, wasn't he?
I thought he was, but heck, I can't remember what he was in.
The name sounds familiar, but yeah, exactly. I have no idea what else he was in.
I don't know. I'll find it real quick, though.
Seeing him there, and then Eliza Dushku, and he's like this main... you could see him being kind of a strong lead male character who would be a cop eventually. So that makes total sense that he ended up in Dexter. This might be what helped him to get Dexter. I don't know, because I'm sure this was one of his first big roles.
Yeah. Jeremy Sisto, I see really Clueless, Wrong Turn, Spurgatory. He was as a show that he was on. Played on a couple episodes of Law and Order. But other than that, I mean,
Huh. Maybe he just has one of those names where he sounds famous. I don't know.
yeah, I'm thinking so because, like I said, he was on Law and Order, the TV series, for a little bit there in 2010.
Yeah, and that was long after this
Uh,
movie.
yeah, and I'm trying to look back through here and see if there's anything that really sticks out, but nothing for me sticks
Hmm.
out. So
I mean, it's kind of the same.
it must just be the name.
Yeah, it's kind of 90s. I think she was in Bring It On, which was, I would say, a fairly big success. But I mean, lately, other than Dollhouse, I don't know what she's done. I mean, maybe that's by design, though. Maybe she's actively not pursuing anything.
And that's very possible. A lot of them do that, and some of them can't get out of the characters they've established in their lives either.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I hadn't seen this movie for, gosh, it's been years. I watched it when it first came out. I don't think I went to the theater for it. I think I rented it when it came out on DVD. And me and my wife both liked it. We enjoyed it. And then I seen it one or two more times, maybe catching it on Sci-Fi Channel or something like that. But then I didn't, really even think about it until you mentioned it, and then watching it again, I still think it holds up pretty good. I mean, it's a good story. It's a lot of the same of the, like you see, The Hills Have Eyes, the original one from Wes Craven, was a lot like that, except it was in the desert, and, mutations from radiation and inbred and all that good stuff. But really, this one kind of stands out as a pretty good one. Before there was a lot more of these movies coming out at that time. Because you had Wrong Turn, and of course, well, it wasn't long after that they had the Hills Have Eyes remake, I believe, came out. So, yeah, but
Yeah.
all in all, I think it holds up. I like the scenes, the gore's pretty good. It's not too bad. And, it's got a little bit of suspense to it, especially when they're stuck in the cabin watching them mutilate their friend and eat him.
Yeah.
Eat her.
Yeah. That was pretty crazy, especially like it. I mean, it does get you into that intense feeling of just being stressed because like even something as subtle as like the blood draining down through the dirty floor right in front of his face, you're like, you don't want to touch it, and he's kind of backing away, and it's just one of those things where you're in the moment, you're really going through this.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one of those things. That's one thing I will give them. If they can build suspense like that, it works out really well. Instead of being, like, oh, we're just going to get up here and knock them down and run out the door. No,
Yeah.
it didn't work out that way. They were trying to be smart and wait and find their opportunity to leave. And that
Yeah,
kind of builds
exactly.
up that suspense. And then, of course, when they're trying to sneak out, that builds up some suspense. Because obviously, when you're watching, somebody's going to wake up. Or somebody's going to hear them. They're going to knock something over. Whatever happens. So.
Yeah. And it's intense anytime that you have a character trying to sneak across an area that there's something, evil in that's going to come after them anytime. I mean, even like 28 Days Later comes to mind when they're in that, I think it was the church scene where they're just trying to quietly sneak by, and then all of a sudden one pokes its head up, and that might be a good one to review in the future. But I mean, anytime they're sneaking, and in reality, like even going back to the blood on the floor thing, like there's no reason I should have to care about that at all. Like I don't care if that blood touches his face, but in the moment in the movie, you're like, oh no, please don't let this happen. It's so gross. And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just like there's no reason, but it invests you that much. I think it's those little subtleties that really make these films last or will stand up, like you said earlier.
Oh yeah, and for the pace of the movie is pretty good. At first, you're trying to figure, okay, what's all going on? Because of course you got that first little intro, the two climbers or hikers or whatever, they get killed off. You never see who kills them at first. You still quite don't see them till you don't see the cannibals or the hillbillies till later. It seems like it seemed like it took a little bit for you to actually see them. So that was kind of nice that they kind of kept that hidden for a while. You kind of have to wonder, like, okay, is it people or is there something else after them? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even the outfits or the prosthetics, I guess, for the inbred characters, I mean, they were done pretty well. I mean, and the way that they moved was really impressive as well, because like you had the little one that was really fast and like had the high pitched like squeals and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like it was so fast, and like the way that it moved and everything, it was so unique. Like you could tell they put effort into thinking out how these creatures would act or how these people would act.
Yeah. And, as the movie progresses, obviously, they're killing people off right and left eventually, leaving it down to the main two characters left, you could say. And when they go up into that watch out tower, when the Rangers, obviously they turn on the radio and they're trying to signal people, but as soon as, they don't get nothing, you never see them turn it off, and that's going to play a factor later. And I think that's pretty good when they're sitting there watching them go by, like, okay, they're leaving, we'll be able to get by, and somebody chimes up on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah. Even that scene after that, where they're up in the treetops was really well done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pretty scary, and just like the intensity again was pretty high in that moment.
But then after watching that, they're not complete idiots because they didn't just run up there and climb up. They decided just to burn it down to get them out of there. It's like, we're just going to burn them out.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't like they were completely unintelligent by any means. They
exactly.
they had the instinct to survive by all means.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like I couldn't tell for sure if they were hunting them like for fun or if they were hunting them like to protect their way of life. It almost seemed like it was more of a game, more of a fun type thing for these creatures.
Yeah, it seemed like that was like like I said, they're just out there. That was fun to them. That was, this is great. We're going to hunt this game and we're going to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, all in all, I think it was pretty good. Even the ending was good. Of course, mid-credits had a little scene there, but, obviously they've made 6 more of them, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, the way it ended, I do like it because, like, the good guy kind of survives in the end and it manages to get away, but not, it's just the 2 of them, if I remember right. It's just the 2 that actually get away, so.
It's just,
Yeah, everyone else was killed off one by one, classic horror movie formula. But still, it's good to see like the good guy actually be able to escape. They didn't even have to win; they just had to escape, and I was happy with that ending. I don't care for the good guy dying at the end of the movie every single time, like so many horror movies do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I still think it holds up. I think it's worth watching. If you haven't seen it for a long time, go ahead and give it a shot. Don't worry about the others. Just check out the original one again and just see if it holds up for you. I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah, and I think you can find kind of a crappy version of Wrong Turn on YouTube, but if you just Google search it, usually there is one that I watched that is free online. It's on a certain website. I don't remember the name of it, but if you Google search it, you can find it. I don't know if the legalities on that, so I'm obviously not endorsing anything, but I'm just saying it is possible to do.
Yeah,
so overall,
is. These older ones we can seem to find pretty good everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I would probably give it a 3.5 probably just because like it's not anything that's going to blow your mind, but it is a good horror movie.
Well, I'm coming in close to you. I'm coming in at 3 out of 5. So I'm coming in really close to you. Like I said, it's not the greatest thing. You've kind of seen the story before with other cannibal inbreeding movies, but I still think this one's pretty good, especially for the time it came out. There wasn't a whole lot of that coming out at the time, so it probably hit the right time to come out because it was a success at the box office to a point. I think it made $3 million more than what they started with, so at least they made their money back.
Yeah, and they were committed when they were making this movie. Like, I know Eliza Dushku, she did a lot of her own stunts for the movie. The guy who plays Three Finger, he was legitimately set on fire by Eliza during one of the last scenes in the movie. I know that Desmond Harrington, again Quinn or Flynn in this movie, he actually broke his right ankle after landing on the opposite side of the log when he's running away from the creatures after they woke them out of the cabin early on. And so it made it difficult to shoot some of the scenes after his left leg is shot and he has to limp on his right leg, which is, the one that broke. So, yeah. And then Emmanuel Chiriki? I don't know. Sorry about that to everybody. But she dislocated her shoulder after performing her fall through the trees. So you can actually hear her shoulder pop on the production track in the theatrical sound mix. So, I'm telling you, like, these people, they really went through it. And this is also the only film in the series that does not contain any sex or nudity, which is kind of one of those traits that you get when you go straight to DVD movies. So
yeah, it seems like it.
But yeah, I mean, that's most of the interesting facts that I have about this film. I didn't know if you had any extra, John.
No, I really don't have anything else. I don't really have any final words on it. I'd say just go ahead and check it out. I mean, even on IMDb, it has a 6.1 out of 10, so it's still not that bad.
Oh yeah, I liked it.
All right. So this week we're gonna switch off and on from doing book reviews and game reviews, and this week I'm going to go ahead and do present my book that is first of the series. I'm not sure how to classify this because I find this as a fantasy horror type novel. I mean, it has some horror elements and it pulls in a lot of stuff, but the series is the Dresden Files, and it's written by Jim Butcher, and I'm a fan of his because he is a local boy in a way, because he lives right outside Kansas City. That's where he's always lived, and being from Missouri, that's kind of neat seeing somebody get that successful out of it, so that's kind of neat. But I don't know. I mean, I enjoy this series because it pulls in a lot of different elements. It pulls in elements from, with the horror movie wise, you could say, vampires, monsters, demons, angels. I mean, the whole thing. And plus, when they're describing some of the gore that's in the book, it's described very graphically. So, like, the first book is Stormfront, which was written in 2000. It's the first novel, which I think he has plans to have like 25 of them, and I think he's on 17 right now. No, 16, I'm sorry. He's finishing up book number 16. I think he was shooting for 20. One or the other. But anyway, it revolves around this wizard named Harry Dresden, who works in Chicago as a private investigator or consultant for the Chicago PD as well. But he advertised himself as a wizard. And of course, he knows how to do magic, summoning, and all that stuff. And in this particular book, he's looking for a killer that used black magic to literally rip the hearts out of people from the inside, just literally exploding them out of their chest. It's a pretty short book, and I think it's worth. You kind of get an intro to Dresden and the people he's associated with, like the police detective, this Karen Murphy, who calls him in on special investigations, which is the department that gets shifted over the stuff that can't just be easily wrote down and shoved under the table. They have to send it to them. They have to figure out what it is, and then make it look nice and neat for the politicians. So, yeah, I don't know. It's worth checking out. They did make a sci-fi series on this, the Dresden Files. It was on for maybe a season. It wasn't too bad, but they don't follow the books like you would think. I mean, it's just kind of its own thing, using the character names. So, I don't know. It's worth checking out.
Did you personally like the sci-fi series?
It's not bad. I mean, I don't think they were too bad. I think you can find most of it on YouTube. You can look up the Dresden Files series, and most of them are on YouTube. It wasn't bad, but I really think I'm a bigger fan of the books than I am the series. And I think if somebody would pick up the series, like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, one of them places, I think they could do really good with these movies if they don't have to cut down on what's in the book. They can actually do it how they need to do it. Not worry about a theater release or anything like that. Just make good movies out of it. I think it would work real well. And actually, at one time, I think they were going to do Stormfront, was going to be a movie to premiere it. But they went ahead and done Constantine instead. And of course, Constantine really didn't take off after they thought it would. They've kind of tried to redo it twice now, and it's not. Unfortunately, it never took off. It was a good comic series. I think that movie was really good with Keanu Reeves, but
I loved it.
It's unfortunate that it didn't take off, but it's also unfortunate that they didn't go ahead and try doing Stormfront as well, to try to push both of them at the same time, maybe. But either which way, definitely check it out. It's Stormfront, Jim Butcher, first book of the Dresden Files. It'd be worth it. you can also find the audiobooks. It's read by every book has been read by James Marsters, who has appeared in several different TV shows, and he's done other audio. The one that I can think of him from is he was a recurring character on Smallville as Brainiac. He was on there a lot. So that's the best thing. He was also on an episode of Supernatural at one time. I think he was the husband of the couple that were fighting each other with witchcraft or whatever. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember
So
him.
he was on that one, and I think John Glover read one of the books instead of him at one time because of some kind of scheduling difficulties. So, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I recommend checking it out. I mean, out of 5, I'd probably give this book 4 out of 5. I mean, there's some problems, but it's still good. All right. So now I got that out of the way, we will go on to Pieces from 1982. And so I'll just go ahead and read IMDb's deal here. Young co-eds are being dismembered by a mysterious murderer on a college campus. The killer is attempting to put together a human jigsaw puzzle made from body parts. Now, I love the tagline for this movie. It's just pieces. It's exactly what you think it is, because it is. It's bloody, gory, all the way. It's directed by Juan Fakir Simon. And as for actor-wise, there's nothing real major on there that I seen that came, at least anything for the U.S. audience. It's got 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Let's see. The budget was $300,000 in U.S. and actually in the U.S. it made over $2 million, so it well overmade its money back for the movie. But it's definitely a 1982 slasher, massacre, chainsaw cutting up people movie. I mean, within the first 5 minutes, the kid axes his mother to death and dismembers her body. Then goes back to putting this puzzle back together.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So, yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting movie. I mean, I'd seen it a long time ago, and I didn't remember it, and I thought, oh, we gotta watch that one again. And really, I didn't mind it because it's one of those ones I could, it's I call it a popcorn movie. Just, grab a bag of popcorn, sit down, and just watch it. It's not that big of a deal. There's nothing to figure out. I mean, it's pretty all self-explanatory. The only thing you have to wait till the end is figure out who the killer is. But even in that, you can still kind of figure out who it is before it's over.
Yeah, I agree with that. So if we're going to go into my part of it, I did have a few criticisms of the movie. I think you enjoyed it more than I did, so I'm going to try not to be too hard on it. But
oh, no, go ahead.
So, the movie is supposed to take place in 1942, correct?
Yes.
And
well, okay, that's where it first starts out in, but then it jumps up to, I want to say probably the 60s, maybe late 60s, early 70s probably.
Yeah, in the very beginning of the movie, like I said, 1942, because he's a kid, and then the rest of the movie takes place when he's an adult, he's grown up, and this is with 1942. They have a touch-tone phone in clear view of the camera right at the beginning of the movie in 1942.
Well,
So, I mean, it's a small thing, but I thought it was hilarious enough that I had to mention it. And then just the way that the mom went just like insane at the very beginning because the kid was putting together a puzzle of a naked lady. She just lost her mind and she started destroying everything in the room. And so I mean, you can't really blame the kid for axing. I mean, you should, but I don't know.
Okay, losing his mind to axe him is one thing, but then he just went ahead and grabbed a saw and started sawing her body up and cut it, and then go right back to putting the puzzle back together until somebody shows back up. They go hide. And poor pity me. Somebody big man killed.
Where does some kid get the idea to chop off her head and put it in the closet? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can't really rationalize insanity. But
No.
yeah, and then the fact that the police didn't suspect the kid when his fingerprints were all over the murder weapon. The murder weapon was literally laying right there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the kid's covered in blood, and he just walks out and he hugs the cop, and he's like, "Oh no, I was so scared," and yeah,
Well,
so that just kind of blew my mind.
well,
Just the
here's the other
police
thing.
obviously were not very good in 1942.
No, because here's the other thing. The woman that comes there looking for him, she's like, well, he has an aunt upstate. I'll take him to there. They're not going to let a fucking kid go to his aunt's house. If he witnessed a murder, a brutal murder, which even though he committed it, it's like, okay, well, he's a potential witness. When he says a big man killed my mom, it's like, well, fuck. You're not going
Yeah,
to let him just say, oh, you can go to your aunt's house. It's okay, boy. We'll let you go.
we've
Go
got
take
enough
a shower
details.
real quick. It's okay. Go get
Yeah,
cleaned up.
yeah. So
Uh,
I don't
okay,
know.
yeah, I mean, there's a few things wrong with it. I know there is. And
Oh, I'm not even close to done yet.
I figured that.
So, like the other thing is when they bring in the undercover cop, and she's supposedly a tennis expert, and then it cuts to a scene of them playing tennis, and they are like, they're standing in one place, hitting the ball softly back and forth, and I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Oh, yeah.
Clearly, these two actors have never touched a tennis racket before they got on set, and
Oh,
then
no.
they had like the waterbed killing where he goes to stab the woman. And the waterbed scene before that when they're just talking about it in the
Yeah.
hallway. Apparently, that's infamous now because of the famous quote that the lady, she's
Yeah.
like, "Nothing is
Nothing
better
better.
than." You
Smoking.
go ahead, John.
It was nothing's better than smoking pot and having sex on a waterbed or something like. It's crazy.
Which, I mean, just thinking of physics, I would imagine it would be horrible on a waterbed. But I mean, that's just me.
Hey,
So,
waterbeds are cool. Don't knock them. We had one
yeah,
for a while when we first got married. We had a king size waterbed.
I used to have a waterbed too. Actually, it was kind of interesting. I would imagine it'd be horrible on the back, though. Just trying to think about that now.
Well, probably now it would. I'm older now. I just kind of think about it, like, hell, I don't think I'd be able to get out of the damn thing. Probably, I'd probably kill myself falling out of the bed.
Yeah,
So
just
after,
swishing around back and forth like a fish, just trying to get out of the bed
I'd be
every
afraid of
morning.
flipping my wife off or something off the other side and getting killed by her eventually.
Yeah, there you
Smother me in
go.
the night.
So
Oh,
yeah, and then the waterbed killing though, you can see clearly the knife misses her head completely,
oh
but I
yeah.
mean she still dies obviously, but
Oh
the knife just like goes inward and it's in clear view of the camera again, which I thought was kind of funny. Like the daylight in the middle of daylight, like the girl who was doing a picnic out there, and he comes up with a chainsaw and manages to kill her with that. It's like you didn't hear a chainsaw. That's the most loudest possible, murder weapon he could have chosen, and he snuck up on you with a chainsaw. Like I could hear my dad out in the forest chopping down wood with the chainsaw, with me inside with the door closed and the TV on. Yeah. Anyway, maybe they had quieter chainsaws back in the
yeah.
'60s.
It
I
had a
don't know.
muffler on it.
Yeah, there you go. It's just a really good muffler. So yeah, and then like another part that I could not stand was like when Mary sees the dead girl in the bathroom area, and she just like flips a switch and goes into horrible actress mode, and she's like, "I can't believe it, bastard, bastard,
When we were in there, that bastard
bastard."
killed her.
Yeah, and she just like, you have to watch it. I mean, yeah, you have to watch this movie just
Yes.
because of all this. And so like the closet at the very end, they find the woman who'd been put together, by the kid, the jigsaw eventually put
Oh
together.
yes.
They open the closet first on accident, like the bumbling detective guy, like just puts his hand on there, and the closet thing flips around and opens up. And at first, the lady is a brunette. Then all of a sudden, when it goes to fall on him, she's a blonde. Like,
Yep.
I don't know what happened there. Like, how they managed to get two props for that. Yeah, so that happens. And then, magically, she wakes up and rips his penis off somehow. So
Oh
I didn't
well.
totally
Yeah.
understand that part of it. But,
He was
it's
a hell of
whatever.
a doctor apparently to be able to sew
Yeah.
it together and get it to work and reanimate her after taking heads, arms, tits,
Yeah.
torso, ass, legs.
Yeah.
Had to find special feet though because the feet weren't right yet.
Right.
Had to wear the certain shoes of his mom.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that was pretty funny. But,
Oh
yeah, I mean, that's about. I mean, even Linda George, who played Mary, the bastard woman, like Eli Roth is a big fan of this movie, and he tried to
Uh,
get a hold of Linda George to do like a voiceover type thing for Pieces and talk about the movie. And she dismisses this movie so much she would not like she turned down Eli Roth, and she wants nothing to do with this movie. So apparently even the Mary character didn't care for it. So
yeah.
I just thought that was funny. But I mean, again, like it's on YouTube, it's free. I think you should watch it just for the sheer fact of, like John, you said, it's kind of a gore exploitation film. I mean, it's just you
It,
you should see it just for the fact that it exists. You know?
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's other stuff in the movie too. I mean, obviously it's not a big plot movie by any means. I mean, it's definitely not a big plot movie, but they give you some red herrings out there, like, oh, he's the killer. Oh no, wait, maybe it's him. Oh wait, it's the student. I mean, they
Yeah.
try to throw a little bit, but like I said, through it, you kind of get the idea of who the killer is eventually. I mean, obviously, something's wrong with the dean. It's like,
Yeah.
he's acting awful weird.
Yeah.
And
And I
then,
actually liked. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well, I'm amazed that he still had a keepsake box of his of that, the shoes his mom was on, and that she had, and a picture of her, and the dress, and
Yeah, I
the
mean, not to
puzzle
mention those being like, wouldn't those be what is that called
evidence.
when things are at a crime scene?
I think it's
Uh,
called evidence. Evidence.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
the
You
word
managed
we're
to
looking
get
for.
off all
Evidence.
evidence,
Well, come on, they let a witness go. Who cares about evidence? They just know somebody was killed here. Obviously, we know the
right?
terms of death. Who cares about the evidence?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think my favorite character was maybe Professor Brown and his like WWE type scene there in the middle where he's like fighting off a bunch of dudes and just throwing them all over the place. That was kind of funny. And
That
then the
was
Bruce Lee guy who came in later for no apparent reason except to make the movie longer.
it's a little bit of buffer, some fluff in there. Come on, we got to fluff up the time because we can't tell it in 20 minutes. We got to get
Yeah,
another 60 minutes here to make a movie.
should you should just have another topless scene for another 10 minutes. Pointless gratuity.
There was plenty of topless scenes in this one, but
That's for sure.
none of them
But
very
I thought
great. But they're topless anyway.
yeah, exactly. The Bruce Lee thing was funny though because I think it was you who were telling me earlier that the Bruce Lee character was actually a stunt double for the real Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that's what I was reading, that he had done as a stunt double, or he had been in some Bruce Lee movies with him, or worked on some kind of weird stuff with him. But yeah, I mean, because the producer was actually making kung fu films in Rome at the same time, so and he happened to be in there, playing in these movies. So he brought him over to do this real quick scene where he jumps out and assaults a woman.
Who is a police officer.
Who is a police officer with a gun. I mean, it's like, wow, and comes out there kicking ass, and then the guy shows, oh, this is my kung fu instructor. It's like, oh shit,
And
really?
then he blames it on bad chop suey.
Oh, I had some bad chop suey, and then runs off. I mean, it's like, come on. It's like the stereotypical Japanese guy. I was waiting for him to go, Godzilla. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I watched that scene and I was like, I'm not sure if this is racist or not. I don't know how to feel about this.
Bad chop suey. Oh, shit.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a 2.5 out of 5. I mean, I can't say it was good by any means, but it was worth seeing.
Hey,
so.
but you're still in the middle, so technically it's worth probably checking out.
Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna give this one 3 out of 5. I mean, there are problems with it, and I don't deny it at all, but it's just one of those ones. It's got plenty of gore, and it's just there. What else can you say about it? It is what it is.
It is a classic horror, a classic slasher film. So I mean, it's got that going for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's it. Jeff, you got anything? Plug some stuff, or however you want to do it.
Sure. You can find me at DarkonVale on Twitter, at DarkonVail, DarkonVale. It's my gamer tag. You can find us also at www.jeffjarman.tk. Also, thefrightcorner.tk, same difference. That's pretty much got all of our stuff collectively in one place. So it's definitely a good resource if you're interested in all of our stuff. We have a comedy show. We also have a Stargate type show called Keepers of the Key that I've been kind of working on and off with. And yeah, lots of stuff going on.
All All right, yeah, you can follow us at the Fright Corner on Twitter. We have the Fright Corner group page. Just come join. I try to post on there. So the last 2 weeks have just been real hectic. I've had some family personal issues that have come up that we've had to take care of, and it's just been just a stressful time. So I haven't been as active here lately. I'm going to try to within the next week or two be a little bit more active, but I just got to get through a couple of things here with my family, and yeah, and YouTube, the Fright Corner. Less than 10 days away from getting my Resident Evil game, so I'm hopefully going to put some videos up of it. Considering doing some, other videos. I got Battlefield 1. I'd like to do some videos on it. Then, of course, I've been playing Destiny. We're going to have to get on there and do some crazy-ass videos on there. Just to goof off with. I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, that's still a pretty popular game. So
yeah, definitely. And speaking of that, I'm also working on right now a little review well, not really a review, more like a spotlight type series on a video game called The Forest, and it's on PC right now on Steam, and it's still in early access. It's an alpha version game, so but basically it's survival horror. Think about like Minecraft, but with really good graphics and horror genre. So like you crash land on this island, and there are these natives there who end up kidnapping your son from the plane crash. And so you've got to kind of build a shack. You have to like chop down trees and build a little shack to survive in, and try and, make craft weapons and things like this, and kind of explore the island and try to find your son and some of the other plane crash survivors. And like when you're playing by yourself, it is really, really scary. So I'm also recording a lot of gameplay from that, so that'll be on our YouTube channel as well. And I think you'll enjoy it. So we're going to be talking about that more on future podcasts here pretty soon.
Yeah, and when we get closer to time, I will announce on Twitter and as well as the Facebook page and wherever else I can what the movies will be that we've picked. Because usually we don't know what we're going to pick until the next day or two after we record. So it's a process because there's so many out there. And there are so many good ones, and there are so many bad ones. But there's also the ones that everybody knows. Everybody knows the Nightmare on Elm Street series, the Friday the 13th series, and Hellraiser, or Child's Play. Everybody knows those movies. So it's kind of nice that we're trying to find more off the beaten path if we can. Some hidden treasures. Maybe we'll come across a hidden treasure one of these days.
Yeah, those independent movies are always kind of hit and miss, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I think that's it for this week. So until next time, keep horror alive and watch something that scares you. And we'll see you next time right here in the Fright Corner. The earth will be a better place without you and me. So we can climb up on our roofs to throw ourselves from it. Because doom, death, and destruction is all we see. Because doom, death, and destruction